Oh, hey there, everybody. So, if you watch this whole video, you might get a little confused, and you're going to be like, what's going on here? Is this thing on a loop? Is he recapping the same show again? Is he doing Chicago? What is this? Well, I gave it a shot. A fan requested it. I put in the time listening to it over the last couple of days. That's the other problem. I'm not sitting down and doing a straight through listen, even skipping a song here and there. Looking at you, Horn. Sorry, Spud. Love you, man. I still love that song. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna post them both together, I guess. You know, both of them suck. I'll be honest, but you know, like I said, I don't want it to just lay here on my phone and then eventually get deleted, and that guy be like, "Man, F Zappa 20 left me hanging." And in case you're wondering, yes, he's still on the scene. I'm still can't sit down. Just kind of stuck back here, standing in this room. If you're like, bro, now you're standing? What's going on? You know, it's a shame. Also, I definitely wanted to upload today. You know, there's still snow out there. It looks like I got monitor face, but really it's snow face. Informa. And I'll be, you know, let's be honest, ladies. I was looking a little extra handsome today. Lady Mary. She's the only one who watches, I think. Fuck. Oh, well, hello everybody. We are back again with another old show here. And this one was a request from a fan. This was his first show. When I go back and do the old shows, I try not to go back too far. I'm looking for shows that people have at least attended. Maybe even it was your first show. But I sometimes forget that there are people that check in on the channel that go way, way back. You know, it's almost hard. I mean, I don't know what I imagine. It's not like the people that saw them in the early 90s have left the earth at this point. You're still out there. And this guy, I probably should have wrote down your name. July 10th, 1994 at the SPAC was the show we're talking about here. And if you're wondering, like, hey, man, why are you sitting there? My cat kicks me out of my seat now, you know. It's unbelievable. It's a pretty large seat. I mean, fairly large cat, really, but somehow manages to take up the whole thing every time. And maybe these kind of archive videos at some point I'll work in some cat action at every time. I don't know. So this one, we get started out with Chalk Dust Torture, like I'm saying about every time now. They got so many good openers. Most shows we're going to get a good opener to start out. In fact, both sets started out pretty good. Sample in a Jar. And then there's a lot of songs from these shows from when you get back into the 90s. Don't get a lot of play time now. Not that Sample in a Jar is one of them. Well, what are we jumping all the way over there for? So after the Chalk Dust Torture opener, and it pretty much just stayed straight ahead Chalk Dust. Good up-tempo rocking way to start the show. Then we go Horn, Peaches, and Rift. And, you know, all pretty much just normal stuff there. Nothing. The only unusual thing happened in there was they somehow snuck Peaches in about 3 minutes. Raced through that thing. Trey had a little problem with a brief part there at the beginning, but you know, it's not an easy song to play. Rift, and then we really, once the set starts to boil a little bit, was with Stash. There was a really cool part in there where they kind of slowed it down, quieted it down, and the chaos sort of, you know, took a back seat for a moment, only then to come back and finish up Stash strong like it normally would, if I could, after that. Another good one we don't get very often now. You know, now we're getting, well, let's not complain about the current set list. But back then, a song like that, or Sample in a Jar, maybe, possibly would have been songs I probably would have complained about Horn even back then. My Friend, a really good My Friend, and lots of teases throughout the night. My Friend had a few. The Julius even had Trey's infamous Jean-Pierre, Miles Davis tease, like he often likes to do. We got a Purple Haze in there somewhere. That might have been the My Friend or even the Mikes. At some point, that's later in the second set. So they end the set similar to the way they started the first set. Just rocking out one of their old up-tempo songs. Not a lot going on there, like with the Chalk Dust, played pretty much how you would expect. The Cavern this is. And then we get over here to the second set. Only a 59-minute first set, too. Right under an hour. I like that. You know, it's an hour, and an encore. Let's get out of here. Although the second set was a little bit longer. Sample in a Jar started that one. Then they got into David Bowie, a really slow, you know, they can do there's many things they can do with the opener. I was just recently listening to another David Bowie from 1994, and that one had a Mind Left Body jam to open it up. That was the intro to that Bowie. So this one, you know, Fishman doesn't quite get right to it, but you can hear it in there. And then after the slow, drawn-out intro, boom, they get into Bowie. They fly through it. Again, not a whole lot of improv going on in this show. Maybe moments in Stash, the mics that's to come here. We get Glide and Yamar before that, though. I like Yamar. Nice one. Nice, especially back then. It seemed like the same thing with the Stash. Things were just much tighter. You know, the most noticeable, maybe, flub of the night was probably that Peaches. So they were there, even in a summer as hot as 94 for the band. Glide and Yamar. Then we get into the mics, Lowrider and mics. Now, the second part of the mics really was more of the heavy part of the jam that I liked. Took them a minute to get into Lowrider. It's like, what are we doing here again? Like, what is this? Kind of sounded familiar. Maybe sounded like they were going to head into Simple. But then once they hit Lowrider, it was like, oh, everything kind of evened out. You hear it. Then they go back into mics, finishing that up. Kind of a heavy, almost like a very heavy mics and jam there. Not what we're, you know, it's always leans a little bit more towards the heavy side, but. And then they follow that up, this really a near heavy metal mics jam that goes into Bouncing Around the Room and then Squirming Coil. And then they bring out the Due to Life for Crimes of the Mind, ending the second set. Golgi, Rocky Top, Encore. Nice combo that we don't often get anymore. Either one of those songs, you know. Hate to keep going back to that, but there were several points during the show here. It takes, and you know, it's a little bit, I should have put the disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Going back and doing these old shows, it's just, you know, it's not the same, you know. I guess my recap style is kind of like, you know, you were at the show and you want to talk to a friend about it, or you didn't get to catch the show, and I'm telling you, I did listen to it, or I was there, or whatever, you know. So when it's a show that took place so long ago, you know, that sort of, that feeling's just not there, you know. I'm just kind of riding that wave of excitement of, there was a live show tonight, and everybody's excited, including me. It gets excited! You know, while I'm listening to these shows, I'm like, damn, that's great. This is good. I like this. Summer of 94, some of my favorite. But then, I don't know. Something about the fun of sitting down and doing a recap is just not quite there, you know? So, boom, I appreciate the people that have been watching the last few we did. When we do Blossom 2000 or in Mansfield 2000 and, I don't know, some Blossom show. I don't even remember now. 2010. All right, guys. It about does it. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, I know why I'm doing this. It's freezing! I wrote down some notes. Probably skipped right through most of them. Still looking at this cat over here. I'm telling you, that's part of the problem, too. Can't even do a proper recap without this guy. Look at this. This is total nonsense. Now, that is supposed to be my chair. Now, you can see he left me a little bit of room there on each corner. You know, I suppose I could sit up on the back here and then put my feet down there on each side of his head. I woke up last night in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh, I was kind of startled. He was like, I don't know, less than a foot from my face, just laying next to the pillow. This little guy, though, he's so cute. What am I gonna do? Disturb him? I mean, sometimes I try and move him, sit there, but... All right, guys, that does it. Boom. Now, I'm just sitting here trying to listen to some Phish, trying to recap a show, and this Bogarter wants my chair. Look at him. Look how entitled he is. You know, I heard a comedian say recently, I forget who it was, maybe it was Sebastian. He was like, you know, the things our animals do and we let them get away with. We never let a kid get away with that. You know, somehow this little purr monster gets away with everything. It's ridiculous. Whoa, here we are again. We're stuck in 94. Now, I don't know what it is with these old shows. I was sitting here thinking about it. I don't know. It's almost like when there's a live show that night, you know, and I'm here in the room, I'm watching it, I'm listening to it. You guys are there. It's almost like I can feel you guys leaving the venue, or then I know I got some friends that are also at home on couch tour with me. And it's just like you just want to talk to the show about a friend, you know, with a friend or something, you know. And when the show just happened, it feels more like there's an excitement to it. Like I just listened, you just listened, and or maybe then there's the people that didn't get a chance to listen. So that's kind of my recap. I'm basically just like talking to my friends about the show. You know, some of them heard it, some of them didn't. Now, unfortunately, I kind of hogged the mic. You guys don't get a lot of say in this matter if you were there. But Wook Plus does that though. They got like a little discussion going. They bring people on. They don't totally hog the mic like I do over here. So I don't know, but then like while I'm listening to these shows, especially summer of 1994, I stopped into the Chicago show on my way to July 10th, 1994. That was requested by a fan here of the channel. It was his first show, and I do like doing that. I like doing people's first shows. That's why sometimes if I pick an old one, I try not to go back too far. But then I forget, there are some people that hang around the channel. They go all the way, way back. And one, I guess, coincidence was I stepped into, like I said, the Chicago show from '94, and me not being a big Grateful Dead guy, like when they went with the Mind Left Body Jam and with David Bowie, I knew it was amazing and sounded familiar, and I'm like, what is this? It's something from that like classic rock era. And then they go on to tease, some Jimi Hendrix and a few other things, Three Blind Mice or something, and that David Bowie. Just the intro to that David Bowie was like they're just lightly, you can even hear Fishman a little bit. They're kind of playing David Bowie, but then they just go into this really cool intro jam, which I found out later. I had to go and look because I was like, what was that? And so that's me not being a big Grateful Dead guy. But then the other day, when like same thing happened, I said that show, I was like, yeah, this almost sounds like it could be a Grateful Dead song. Turns out it was a song that the Grateful Dead had covered. So, you know, I feel like I could, I almost need to do more Grateful Dead listening just to make me a better Phish fan in some ways. You know, and then I see here on Julius, they teased Jean-Pierre, so I did have to listen to that. Still, I mean, to this day, Trey still does that. I didn't hear it a whole lot this most recent run of shows, though. Back in the fall, early winter, and then winter is coming. I didn't hear it really at MSG either. It was getting to the point, though, Trey would tease that Jean-Pierre by Miles Davis so much that the guy in Goose started doing it. He started incorporating it into their jams. So that might have been when Trey pumped the brakes a little bit. So that was cool, plugged in here into the Julius. Many other teases throughout this July 10th show. The first set was just okay. And then the second set, much like this band will often do to you, that's when it really gets going. The mics had a lowrider tease. Not even really a tease. They went into lowrider. Like my real sweet Pepsi mug there. It's so cold. This is so hillbilly, but white trash even maybe. It's just been like so cold, and I take my mug out of the freezer. I didn't want to grab the cold handle, so I put a paper towel around there. Hey, not everybody's as bougie as you. I'm sorry. All right. So where were we? We're somewhere on July 10th, 1994. In fact, I'm still listening to that. I know these are just, I can't do a proper recap of these shows, really. This morning, it just definitely wasn't happening. And part of the problem is this guy. I got a little clip earlier. As soon as I sat down here at my chair to do my recap, this little guy jumps up. He like really tried to beat me to the seat. Ultimately, he won. You know. Okay, cat. You win. All right, so that's about all I got. I don't know. Apologies for not giving your July 10th, 94 show a proper recap. It seems to be an outstanding show. I skipped through a little bit of it. You know, what am I going to listen to? A horn from 1994? Come on. All right, guys, boom, we are out of here. And, I don't know, if you haven't heard that Chicago in a while, that's an official release. The tweezer, I don't even know if I got to the tweezer. Just straight type 1 rocking out tweezer. Kind of how I like them. Really. I don't know. Sometimes I wish this band would have stayed the band they were in 1994 forever. I mean, it's great that they've evolved, and there's been many versions of the band, really. I almost said iterations, is that right? I was going to throw in one of them words. I'm not real positive if it's right or not. There's been many iterations of the band. Adjudicate! All right, guys, boom, we're out of here. Trying to think of another word. I don't really know what it means. I know seldom. I know that one.